What's up, guys? Welcome to this very first episode of the Exiles Podcast. What I'm doing here is I'm just interviewing many people who jump on these events with me, who spend a week with me, where I think they have a very interesting story that is worth sharing. And we're just trying to provide a lot of value here. And today's guest is Bill Harrelson. I'm very happy to record this first episode with you, my man. The question is you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, I'm Bill Harrelson. I'm 21 years old as of today. I live in the United States.
Just go on.
Should we restart?
Bro. Pets, bro.
No, I'm pretty sure it's broken.
We just need to continue recording this podcast, bro.
You could just restart now and just cut it.
No, I think I don't want to restart, bro. I think we just want to continue.
Okay.
It just adds to the authenticity.
Okay.
Tell the boys what happened.
Yeah, I just fucking tripped over a wire and just destroyed an entire adapter, so.
Perfect,
At
man.
least it wasn't mine. Anyway,
Okay.
my name is Bill Harrelson. I'm 21 years old from the US, and I run a company selling sports betting advice to sports bettors of all kinds, really. Whether you're small bettor, large bettor, we accustom to all people, really. And we've been going for about 3.5 years now. And yeah, we're gonna jump into all that, Instagram marketing, and a lot more.
Okay, man. Thanks for the intro. So let's do this. Imagine there's a guy behind this door, and he has a gun pointed at me.
Okay.
And you have 30 seconds to talk about your greatest accomplishments. If you don't impress him, he's gonna kill me. Go.
My greatest accomplishments in business are definitely being able to drop out of college and pursue this full time. It's something I always set as a goal, and basically told my parents I wasn't going to college, and they really wanted me to. So they were like pushing me, and I said, well, if you pay for it, I'll go, but I'm still gonna work on my business. So we did that for a year, and then revenue numbers started getting up there, and it got to the point where I was able to finally convince them that I could go all in, and that's where we're at now, currently going all in. So.
Okay, I got killed, bro.
I'm sorry.
Dropping out of college is a great accomplishment, but I think you have way more to talk about.
Yeah, it's always more to come.
Okay. Let's just start sharing your whole business journey from the very start until where you're now.
Yeah. So
You don't have to be humble though. You can
okay.
drop some sauce.
So I always was very interested in business. When I was younger, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, as in like freshman year of high school, sophomore year. I knew I didn't really want to work a job, pretty much your stereotypical entrepreneur. And I wanted a Lamborghini. I was actually talking to you about this the other day, but I wanted a green Lamborghini. And how was I going to get that? It wasn't through a traditional job. So I started looking into how I could make money online. First, it actually started a bit of a passion project, which was an Instagram theme page where I posted sports content about American football. It was actually called Sports Polls with 3 L's, and that was able to grow within 2 to 4 months up to like 15K. Basically, that was when Instagram first launched the feature of Instagram polls. And I found out pretty quickly that if you put polls on your story, Instagram loved you. So I would just, literally the account's name was Sports Polls. So I would spam a bunch of polls about the NFL, which is American football, and it would just get a ton of engagement. I'd run contests, some giveaways, and eventually branched off a little bit from that. What I mean is I sold that page actually for about $700 back in junior year of high school.
How old were you in junior year?
17. So I had the page for about maybe like a full year, I'd say.
Did you also make money during this year or just by selling it?
Yeah, so during the year, the first 6 months when I grew it, I didn't make any money. I just did it for fun, but I knew I could make some money. So it was a bit of, hey, this could have some potential, but let's just keep going. And then people would actually ask me to run ads, and more specifically something called a sports handicapper, basically someone selling sports betting advice. So we'll get a bit more into that later, but I ran ads for a lot of my current competitors on that page, and that's what actually spiked my interest in my industry. So selling that page was, dude, I remember I was like shaking in my friend's car when I received the payment. It was $700, and I was like, holy shit, bro, I just made $700. But yeah, anyway, then after I sold that page, I had nothing. And it was like I spent all this time every day, probably spent a couple hours after school just making content. And from there, I had nothing. So I tried to buy more pages with the 700, which I did. Basically, pages like anywhere 10K to like 80K followers. I would message like 30 pages every day, say, hey, would you sell your page? Hey, would you sell your page? Hey, would you sell your page? And then I would buy like 3 to 4 of them. I actually have an old note sheet in my phone of all the pages that I bought. And then I would run some sports content. And then I'd hit up all the guys that ran ads with my old page, be like, hey, you want some ads? Make a little bit of money back. And then I'd go to smaller people selling sports betting advice on Instagram. And I'm like, hey, I just bought this sports page. I wouldn't tell them that I bought it, but I'd say, I have this sports page, 50K followers. You're selling sports betting advice on Instagram. You only have 1,000 followers. How much more business would you get if you bought my page and sold it from here? And I did that, and I was able to negotiate a ton of deals. Like I would buy a page for like $40. That was pretty dead. Maybe like post on it for a couple weeks, get the engagement up, and then I'd flip it for like $1,000. So I did that for like all throughout my senior year of high school while I was like 17, 18.
So how much money would you make per month doing that?
Maybe like 1,500 really, being honest. But still like at the time, anywhere between $1,000 and 1,500.
Okay.
It was pretty nuts to me. But I quickly came to realize like flipping these pages is a short-term solution. Like it's cool and all, like I have money, but like the grind sucked messaging all those pages every single day, because while you're trying to sell the pages and reaching out to people, you're also messaging new pages to buy, and it sucked. And I didn't want to do that forever, and you can't do it forever. It's just quick money here and there. And anyone listening probably can go do it right now and it'll still work. It's just a lot of work. But basically, I was like, hey, these guys are all doing well. The people I'm running ads for, what are they selling? And I got to talking with a few of them, and I was like, hey, what do you guys exactly do? I was just like running ads, no due diligence at all. I didn't even research them. I'd just be like, you pay me? Sure. Like, I don't know. I was 18. I was immature. And I figured out they were professional sports bettors selling their betting advice for then other people to copy. So, for example, let's say you're an average sports bettor. You're just a sports fan. Maybe you follow this guy on Instagram. He'll market to you as a pro sports bettor so that you can pay him, say, $200 every month, and then you'll get access to who he's betting on so that you can go copy it. So these pros would text you, go bet on this team, and then you can go open your casino app or whatever and place bets on the same team. And then theoretically, you would be profitable because you're copying a professional. And I was like, hey, could I resell what you're doing and just give you a commission? Because I was like, these guys are cool and all, but like they suck at marketing. I can do this better than them. And one of them was like, yeah, give me 20% of what you make and we'll go from there. So that's really how the business started.
Did you do sports betting at the time as well on your own?
I was 18 actually, which is a very, very funny thing. Sports betting, for those that don't know, is not legal until you're 21. So people watching this might think, so what you're doing is illegal? And no, it wasn't actually, because legally we were selling consulting advice, and we are. It's information only. So it's kind of like you telling me, I think this team's gonna win the match this weekend. It's literally just like that. Information being exchanged. There's no bets being placed on my end. it's only a client joins and then it's at their discretion or not if they want to bet on the picks or the bets that we recommend.
So these professional sports bettors, they are still on your team to this day?
So no, actually, the ones I started out with, I quickly realized over the span of a year, through a lot of pain and emotional trauma, like watching games, losing, because these people told me they were pros, so I just assumed they had a great product. But yeah, everyone's real on social media, you know? So I quickly realized they were complete scams, essentially. And they were just average guys, maybe a little bit better sports bettors than most people, but like in reality, like they're losing money. Like the house, quote unquote, always wins. And for 99% of people, it does. You're gonna lose money. So these guys were just starting an Instagram account, selling their betting advice, and then using the money that they made to fund their own bets, which like, it took a while for me to find out, and it really like annoyed me because my ethics are one of my top priorities. And especially nowadays, like looking back on it, it's like just burning hatred for all of that. So that I fired that analyst and I went on a journey to find my own, which is a whole nother thing because pro sports bettors don't market themselves online. They don't want to be known by casinos.
Yeah. So what was your, like, since you found all of this out, to scaling your business, like what were the next steps after that happened?
Yeah, so first it was trial and error. Just message a bunch of people selling sports picks, see their track records, see what they were doing, and then hire them. And I did that for about another half a year to a year. And I got to the point where I had somewhat pros, I'd say semi-pros, where they were slightly profitable, but nothing ever too crazy. So I knew I needed to really take it a step up. And luckily through one of my friends actually, and a couple connections, I met a guy who used to be an odds maker, meaning he actually worked for sports books like FanDuel, DraftKings, and a couple others. And he crushes the books essentially. And I had him join my team, as well as a couple other guys that I found along the way, just through, again, massive outreach and just being basically unrelenting, and adding them on. And,
Is this legal?
What I'm doing?
Having a booksmaker in your team?
Completely, as long as the odds maker is not sending picks for the sports books they are working for. I will note to you, the odds maker is actually a partner in a different company of mine right now. We can get into a bit later, but he has been a fundamental part of the growth of my business and the future of my business and the other one.
Okay. You told me about that like 2 years ago, you got an offer for your company that someone wanted to buy it. So could you talk about that story?
Yeah, so back when I was 19, I was in my first year of college and the business was doing somewhat well. I basically had some casino outreach to me. I can't say their name, but they were interested in having my platform be put into their casino, almost an ecosystem where it was like, hey, buy picks from these guys as well, and go from there. They offered me 1.2 million, and we were negotiating upwards of like towards 2 million, but the catch was it was funds that were locked in their company's stock for a certain amount of years. And they also were offering me, as a bonus, I would be employed as the CEO and get a full-time salary for a minimum of 3 years as well. So I was getting over $1 million in this company's stock, plus I was getting a full-time income for 3 years working in a business in sports, which I love.
How much would that income be?
I believe it would have been around 100 grand per year.
Okay.
But ultimately, in a lot of thought and a lot of talking with people, I came to the decision that I wasn't going to do it. Granted, I will say, to be fully transparent, it fell through a bit as well, but I did tell them I wasn't going to do it, and that's when it began. The relationship went downhill. So at the same time, it's a bit of both ways, I think.
So basically at 19, you declined a $2 million deal.
in a sense. But there were a lot of caveats to that deal as well. Like, I wouldn't be able to do anything in this industry anymore. I wouldn't be able to sell sports bets. I wouldn't ever be able to become a competitor. And sports has always been one of my biggest passions in life, especially watching sports and playing them a bit. So it was a bit of a hit if I did that as well, even on the emotional side.
Yeah.
Plus, like, as I mentioned before, my goal was never to be an employee. And I think the pain of being the CEO of my company and watching it grow and thinking, damn, I could have been the one doing this, and being like, damn, like, what if they grew it to $1 million a year? And then I'm sitting here as the CEO, still making $100,000 a year, which is awesome, but could have been me. So went from there and went down my own journey pretty much.
Yeah, man. And fast forward to today, like how does exactly your business model look like now?
Yeah, so our business model today is very similar to how it was 3 years ago, though it will be changing. Basically, people go onto our website, they select a pass that they want, whether it be monthly, yearly. We always recommend going for yearly. It may sound a bit cliche because it is our highest pass, but genuinely, like, with variance, basically meaning swings in the market and the amount of picks you can lose in a shorter span, it gets you the best results. So you pick the pass you want. Once you buy that, we send you onto our platform on Discord, and then you have access to our main 2 analysts who are both professional sports bettors. And they text you every day who they're betting on, how much, what casino/sportsbook they bet them at, and the correct odds you need to get them at in order to have a mathematical edge against the house.
So the majority of people win taking your bets.
Assuming they get all at the correct values, yes, we have a ton of great case studies. Now, the caveat to that again is there will always be people that fall or get swept under the rug, really. Basically meaning gambling is difficult and there's emotions involved. Everyone knows that. People have gambling addictions, which is awful. And when people join our service, they sometimes think, yeah, I'm going to make money instantly. And it's like, yeah, you'll make money, but you have to be disciplined as a bettor still. You have to follow everything we say, and you have to maintain your emotions. So for example, as pro sports bettors, we have losing days all the time. For an average guy who comes in, maybe he buys a year pass, or maybe he buys a couple months with us, and in his first 3 days we're negative. He may have the urge to go onto his casino, place a big bet, place something called a parlay, which basically means you bet a little to win a lot, and try to win it all back. So for those guys, emotions on their own end can interfere, and thus meaning that they won't make a good return. And granted, in full transparency, these are pro sports bettors. They're not people from the future. So not everyone always wins money in the short term especially, but in the long term, we are crushing it. Over 2022, we won something called 87 units. Basically means if you bet $100 a game, you won $8,700.
No way. Like a return on ad spend, basically.
Return per bet made in accordance to what we sent. And then this year, we're on track to have, I believe, over 100, which is pretty nuts. But these guys are killers. And we can get a lot more into how they do it and everything, because I'm sure people watching are just like, yeah, make money sports betting. Like, the casino always wins. Like,
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask, like, what is the main difference between you and your competitors? Because pretty much everyone says, oh yeah, take our picks, you're gonna win this and that.
Yeah.
The majority already have been exposed as scammers. So what would you tell someone who says, oh yeah, you're a scammer as well? Like, what's the difference?
Yeah, so to avoid being cliche and just saying do your research, there's a lot of factors that go into it. And if you're buying a service from someone like mine, you would think everyone offers some kind of track record or documentation, whether it's a Google spreadsheet or a tracking app. Nobody ever seems to, really. My company does. It's mandatory. It's one of our procedures, and any client that asks or any follower that asks, you can DM us on Instagram right now and we'll send it to you. And we're super transparent about our losses, short-term, long-term, any of it. That, and then we actually just like genuinely have a great product. So what I mean by that is, if anyone wants to start selling sports picks today, it's zero startup cost. Like if you want to go sell sports picks right now, you can flip a coin, say, all right, this team's going to win, and then get a Discord together, completely free, send it in there, and be like, hey, we have big bets tonight. Hey, we won 5 of our last 7 picks in this, and we're going huge tonight on this. Join our Discord for $50 a month. So you have no track record. Your product you just made by flipping a coin, and your profit margins are 90 to 100%.
Yeah.
Me, personally, I go out of my way because my ethics are my top priority. And I literally have employed 2 of the top minds in the industry, and I give them to my clients every single day and to myself as well. And it doesn't just stop there. Like, we're also adding in some bots that we've partnered with a huge data provider that works with some sports books, and we've invested so much money, the equivalent of over 100K into this, and all just because of the one reason that I want my product to be so much better than everyone else's, and it drives me absolutely insane because I genuinely care about people, and I hope you can see that just by the way I act and the way I talk. I'd rather people actually get good results because it'll help me sleep at night and then be scamming them and making a lot of money.
Do you offer refunds?
Yeah, I do. Right now, it's completely on a case-by-case basis, I will say, just because of variance. But with these bots we're rolling out, and this is a sneak peek into what we will be offering, we're offering something called arbitrage bots and something called an EV bot. So arbitrage is when there's 2 sides of a market, and you can bet on one side and the other side, and no matter what happens, you make a small return. And it may sound crazy, but the best way I can explain this to you is that every sportsbook, every casino, sets their lines independently, meaning each casino has their own team of people that determine, hey, this team should be minus 150, meaning bet $150 to win 100 in profit. Another casino may think they should be minus 160, meaning bet $160 to win 100 profit. So you have to bet more. So one casino thinks they might be a bigger favorite, one thinks they might be a smaller favorite, and there always will be disagreements in the market. So the reason we partnered with this huge data company that I mentioned is to give us the data that changes every second on every market and find those inefficiencies. So for example, there's 2 major books like DraftKings and FanDuel, and DraftKings may have a team at something called plus 105, bet 100, you win 105. And FanDuel may also have the opposite side of the game at plus 105, basically saying you bet 100, if it wins, you win 105. So no matter what happens, if side A wins, you win 105, and side B loses, you lose 100, so you netted $5 profit. And yeah, that's how an arbitrage works. Basically, bet both sides, win no matter what, and our bots are gonna be signaling these to our chats every single day as many times as they can. Granted, arbitrage opportunities are not as frequent as I'd like, just because the markets are good still, like the casino has their edge baked in, the house is supposed to always win. But in theory, and this has been proven many times, and I've done it myself, when an arbitrage opportunity occurs, basically, again, you can bet on both sides, win money no matter what. It just means one side of the market messed up very badly.
Yeah.
So when one side of the market messes up very badly, if you bet only on the side of the market that messed up very badly, theoretically, in the long run, if you play that out over thousands of bets, you'll make a lot more money betting on just the side of the market that messed up badly versus betting both sides and maybe making a small return where you bet 100 here, 100 here, and you net $5. And we have a bot, again, signaling everyone when that one side messes up very badly and the side to bet, where to bet it at, and everything. So, yeah.
How many people do you have in your community right now?
So right now we have 2,000 Discord members, and in full transparency, some of them are bots for security purposes.
Yeah.
Just because we don't want people joining and then being able to message others and like collaborate for discounts. So we basically have these bots set up so if anyone joins and messages others, the bots report to us and say, this person messaged us.
Yeah.
So we can go in and literally just ban your account then so that you can't have access.
And what happens, because like the bots system sounds very great, but for me
Yeah.
it also sounds a bit too easy.
Yeah.
So what happens if like 2,000 people see the signal and then 2,000 people trying to place whatever bets on like the system? Like
Yeah.
what happens then?
Yeah, so the way these bets work with the bots is the opportunities are only available for a short amount of time. So for example, if our bot signals something to you, it may only be available for a couple minutes. This is because the casinos, when they have a market inefficiency, they'll jump on that as soon as they can because they don't want to lose money.
Yeah.
So that will happen, one. And two, there are restrictions, meaning you get banned or limited. So if I pull out my phone right now, maybe not now because we're in Portugal and I can't bet on the US sports books in Portugal, but if I pull out my phone and we were in America, I can't bet more than like $15 on some sports books, basically meaning they see that I'm a winning bettor and they say, hey, we're going to cut you down. So if I try to place $100, they'll say, nope, you can only bet $15.22. They hate winning players, essentially.
Yeah.
And I can get a lot more into that, but it's just...
You just have limited time, man.
Yeah.
So what would you say is how if someone wants to get like started with sports betting or get started in your business as well, like how should you go about that?
So if you wanted to get started in sports betting, it's very difficult because there's a lot of conflicting opinions out there. If I was a complete newbie today, I would go read some books actually, which nobody will probably do, but I think you should. There's a great one by a guy named Stanford Wong, if you want to look it up. It's called Sharp Sports Betting. And that'll give you some good principles and background. But for the average guy that doesn't want to go that in depth, get a bankroll, meaning start with $1,000 and then divide it up into units. Basically say you're only going to bet 1% every game. So if you have $1,000, you only bet $10 a game, 1% each, and then go from there. That way you can't lose all of your money in like a week pretty much unless you just go crazy.
Yeah.
So bankroll and manage it properly. That's a good start. And then I would say you can do a bit of research on what you're betting. That will help diminish the house's edge against you. Granted, there are some good softwares out there, but you could always join a group like ours and it would kickstart it. And we will actually have a link below where you can get a 7-day free trial. So if you want to try us out, go ahead. But yeah.
Okay, so actually like be in control of your emotions.
Yeah, it's just as much as it is technical, sports betting is just as much emotional. And it's tough. It really is. Because they make money off people based off their impulses. And if you learn to control the impulses, you only diminish the house's edge by a small amount. So that's just one step in the journey.
How do you actually win in sports betting?
So you have to understand it's all math. It's nothing to do with your sports opinions, what you think about players, what you think about teams, what you think about coaches. It's all math. That's all it is. And the sooner you realize that, and the sooner you realize that your opinions on a certain player aren't going to do much for you. Granted, I will put a disclaimer, like there are like the unicorns out there that maybe it does, but like for 99.9% of people, math is the only way you're ever going to win. So you have to start there, building models, systems, or just using a service like us.
Okay, man, sounds good. And you're running all of this as a business. What did you say is like your biggest strength business-wise? And what are you doing on a day-to-day basis? Because it sounds like you have your community, you have the sports bet, like the bookmakers placing everything, and it sounds like a chill life. Or what are you actually doing?
Yeah, so my biggest strength is by far my mental side of things. And that's because of sports betting, actually. It's almost like day trading, like seeing your accounts go up and down, like it builds some mental strength, like stressing over games and such now. And that rolls over into business really well as well. And then what'd you say for the second one?
What are you actually working on in the business?
Yeah, on a day-to-day basis, a lot of it's been growing, and by that I mean Instagram marketing specifically. That's where we're the biggest. We have about 170,000 followers over there, and that's where most of our traffic comes from. We're growing the Discord, we're growing our email marketing. Right now, some of my time has been on hiring. We're gonna start YouTube soon. onboarding some graphics designers and editors. And yeah, that's really it. I mean, I only work a couple hours a day normally if I'm just working in the business, keeping it running. But now that I'm hiring and doing all this other stuff, I'd say like on average, like 5 to 8 hours a day, typically.
Okay. And how do you feel about all of this? Like you started flipping your pages basically.
Yeah.
Now you have a team of how many people and growing? Like how do you actually feel all of this at the age of 21?
It's a bit surreal, but at the same time, like I feel like I should be doing better. And I think that's a common trait about a lot of successful entrepreneurs, that you always want more. Granted, I'm very happy with where I am today, and I'm very grateful for that. But I know there's always essentially a next step to take, and I don't want to delay taking it.
Cool, man. You talked about Instagram marketing. We want to provide as much value as possible to the people. Is there any like tips and tricks you want to give? Maybe
Yeah.
not just sports betting specifically, but
Yeah.
in general.
So my favorite tip I give to people, because no one ever seems to know it, is that you can optimize your Instagram bio and split test it. So for example, everyone has their own Instagram bio. They have their own funnel maybe where you have a business where you tell people to message you a certain word or something along those lines. Basically, you build out your bio, you write an emoji, you write another emoji below it, and you have some text. So for us, it's like top-rated sports betting service, served over X amount of clients, 29 years of experience, and then message us this. So every single month, you can change your bio slightly. So for example, let's say start off the month like that. Next month, maybe you change a couple emojis, you change a couple pieces of text. You can go into your Instagram Insights. If you have a professional or a creator account, you can go into a note sheet on your phone, copy and paste the bio you have in, and then all you need to do is look at profile visits and then the followers gained in the 30-day period. So for example, you gain 1,000 followers in a month, and then you go into your Insights, you see 10,000 people visited your profile. So 1,000 followers, 10,000 profile visits. That means you had a 10% conversion rate. Basically meaning for every 10 people that saw your page, 1 followed. Then the next month, you can change your bio and test it again. See if the ratio goes up. So basically, maybe the next month, 1,100 people follow you and 10,000 people saw your page, meaning that bio converted a little bit better. And then you can continuously keep doing this. And I was able to get my conversions over the last year from 11.8% all the way up to like 15 to 16% right now, which is nuts when you think about it, because that 5% gap almost is a ton of more revenue that I left on the table.
Yeah, could you put this into perspective? Like, because maybe for some people 5% doesn't really sound like much, but maybe if you want to, like, can you share your numbers, like what this?
Yeah,
what
like
this actually
for
changed
example,
your
like
account?
if over the last couple months, like we gain 11,000 followers with an old bio, like maybe we never changed our bio, but because I've been split testing consistently for like a year, and I finally found like an awesome one, I'm able to get it from like 11,000 followers instead up to like 15,000. Now I want to put a disclaimer in here. Those numbers are nuts. And it's a lot to do with how I manage my account and everything. And I don't think people should shoot for those kinds of numbers. I think they are really a little bit unrealistic, especially for most niches. But in reality, like getting that extra 5%, like 11,000 to 16,000 extra, that 5,000 extra followers, bro, like 10, 20K extra for me.
Per month?
Like in general, per 5,000 followers maybe.
Okay.
So nuts, just literally from split testing my bio. And then another Instagram tip, some people may know, maybe not. Instagram SEO is a real thing. It may sound crazy, but it is. So your name in your Instagram, the bold part of your Instagram bio where it says maybe your personal name, or maybe you have there what you do, you can optimize that as well. So when people search on Instagram, you come up higher and you rank higher. So right now, when people search sports picks on Instagram, which is what my business is, we're called Elite Picks. So when people search sports picks and they're looking for picks, I'm the second ranked one on Instagram right now that comes up usually, either first, second, or third typically.
Yeah.
And that gives me organic following even without posting content. So if you're a content creator or you own a social media marketing agency, you can differentiate yourself by having a different name, maybe when people are searching for something and it's a high traffic word. I'd recommend putting some emojis in there maybe one emoji at most actually.
You're
And-
first.
Yeah. You see.
I just tested it
Yeah.
here on my Instagram.
And then you can put your name in all caps as well, so that if you don't come up first, having your name in all caps will make you more visible to the people as they're scrolling, more likely to click on your page, more likely to follow, and more likely to message you. Another thing I'd recommend for Instagram, many of you may know this, maybe you don't. For a lot of people selling a product, especially if you're a coach or maybe you have a higher ticket product or even a subscription really, I would say don't put a link in your bio. And a lot of people might not like hearing this, but Instagram, the way it works is they want to keep you on the platform. So you may have heard this or not, but basically if you have click the link in bio and you're saying those kinds of words often, Instagram, the platform itself, genuinely doesn't like that, and they will limit your reach even a small amount. It won't be too much, but it is a little bit.
Yeah.
And then secondly, again, if you're funneling them to your DMs, it keeps them on the platform, thus meaning Instagram likes it more, they're engaging more, you're more time on their app. And then you can convert them and be like, hey, message us this keyword to get started or get a free audit. They message you the keyword, then you can message back and go into a script where then you send them the link to your website or whatever you're trying to close them on.
Yeah, man, I think we have 3 great hacks, what people can actually implement right away, which will help them. So there's only one last question I ask you business-wise, which is, what are the next, no, let me ask differently. What is your end goal or what is your vision with the whole business?
Yeah, genuinely, to help as many sports bettors as I can make a profit in sports betting, whether it's small or absolutely huge. Yeah, I'd say that's the main vision. And then also, at some point in the very near future, in the next year, I'd like to really start coaching people on how to actually start this business and be profitable doing it while actually delivering a fucking awesome product. And we're exploring even being able to give people access to our product and saying, hey, pay us a % of your revenue and go resell this and we'll show you how to do it.
So white label of your business, basically.
Essentially, yeah. And then basically just make sure all the people under us are doing it the right way.
Yeah.
So bring a better education to the sports betting community, help lower the amount of people that are getting absolutely screwed over on a daily basis.
Is this what drives you? Is it like, do you feel sorry for people who lose their house, money, family, whatever?
Gambling addiction-wise, I'd say as a disclaimer, just call 1-800-GAMBLER. But I do feel sorry to them. I feel more sorry for the people that are getting ripped off and paying for other people's picks that don't know what they're doing. That's my real driver, because you may think the business industry isn't that big, but it is. There's a lot of money going into it.
For sure.
And there's a lot of people getting scammed. And for every 100 accounts, or for every 99 accounts that are bad, 1 is good. And that even might be a stretch. So,
Are you the best one in the industry?
in terms of people selling picks online, I confidently believe I am. Yes. I believe there are some data companies out there that are competing with us and are very good. But out of the people genuinely selling picks on Instagram, Twitter, and whatnot, like, I don't even think it's that close, being honest. And let alone us adding bots like this into our community, it's just going to accelerate it even more. And other people in the industry are selling bots, but again, they're usually pretty shitty, to be honest, because they don't commit a huge part of their company and over 100K in worth, essentially, towards building something like this and actually partnering with a huge company to make sure you can deliver something.
So in short, yes. You're the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe I am.
Okay, perfect, man. So we talked a lot about business now. In terms of your personal life, would you mind sharing some info? Like, where are you from? How does your normal day look like?
Yeah. I'm from Pennsylvania, right under New York City for those around Europe that don't know where Pennsylvania is. But very simple life.
Now, bro.
What?
Gotta Google this.
You're gonna Google it? Yeah, very simple life. Chill out, hang out with my family a lot. my dog, and work a bit. And then I love sports, so I watch a lot of American football. And yeah, I'm a fan of all Philadelphia sports teams. That's the city where I'm originally from, pretty much. And workday, again, not much, too much, really. A couple hours in the business. But it's a very laid-back life. Granted, I'm going to begin doing a lot more, but it's very enjoyable.
Are you happy?
Very, yeah. I would say more so just like contentment with where I'm at and everything. But yeah.
So when do you get that Lambo?
To be honest, everything's changed my mindset. For people that know me now and have known me the last few years, like, I would never be the guy driving a Lambo. Like, it just doesn't fit me. It seems like a dumb purchase unless I have obscene amounts of money. And I'd prefer rather just like have my own little car that never breaks down, like don't have to fill it up with gas as much, and just like very little inconvenience. If I was like mega rich, maybe, but I feel like I'd rather just have like a personal driver, like honestly.
Yeah,
but
man.
One day maybe.
So I know you, like, you're not, like, even though you could afford like flashy clothes, brands, all of that stuff, like,
Yeah.
you're not doing it at all. Like, why?
It's just not me, and I think it's pointless, to be honest, unless it boosts your self-confidence or something to a point where it's like you feel better, you function better. But to me, it's just like I can get the same stuff for like $20,
You
and
genuinely don't give a fuck.
not at all, like at all. Like you can probably tell, like even what I'm wearing here.
Yeah, man.
Just like it's my normal outfit.
Yeah, like day to day, bro.
Like, I have some nice stuff, but like could work on it.
Yeah, so wholesome, man. And do you, like, how do you spend your time? So if you don't really love like this monetary stuff, like what do you actually spend your money on?
I wouldn't even say I spend it that much. I go out to eat a lot, so I'd say that my biggest expense is going out to eat. Just going to like steakhouses and stuff. I'm like gluten free, so like it's annoying. That, and then nunchucks.
Nunchucks.
Yeah, I'm good at nunchucks. Got
Bro,
some over there.
I'd love, I don't know if we can, but just showcase some skills, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, we just need to see if like, if it works with the camera
Yeah,
zoom.
yeah. Like, pretty crazy with these things. But
Yeah, if you just listen to the audio, you should watch the video podcast of this.
yeah.
Because Bill is a killer, man. You
Yeah.
look at him, he's like chill, but with the nunchucks, he's a different
So
man.
these, I've been doing them every day for like 2 years almost, for like 15, 20 minutes. These are like my meditation. It's like what clears my mind. Granted, I've really injured myself, like smacked myself in the nuts pretty hard, but like almost went to the emergency room a couple months ago, back in July. But yeah.
Yeah, man. So one topic I also like to talk about is, you and I were here in my event in
Yeah.
Portugal. So we're surrounded by many other entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And like, I know, maybe you can touch on this as well, as like, you haven't done anything of this in the past. So what is like the difference now between you, like before you joined like
Yeah,
a
bro.
network like GCC and where we're now? Like, what's the difference?
One, it's a fucking awesome experience. Like, it's a great time. But two, I didn't even really know anyone here when I showed up, which kind of worried me, to be honest. But they're awesome. They really are. And I think trusting you and your company and your brand has been awesome for me. And getting around like-minded people like this, people who are a couple steps ahead of me on my level or even below, like, it's awesome just to be able to be around them, learn some stuff from them, see if there's tips I can implement in my own business from these guys. And yeah, just really soak it all in. And now I have connections that if I ever need something in a certain space, I can always text them because I spent a week with them, getting pretty close to them.
Yeah,
So.
man. And like, you and I, we met through GCC, right?
Yeah.
Like,
For those that don't know, Jen's Croquet Club.
yeah,
Yeah.
Iman's networking group, basically. So why did you join a network in the first place?
A year ago today, I knew 0 people online. I always envisioned myself as a grinder who would make it to the top by meeting no one. And I realized I'd get there much faster by knowing people in the space that have had success or other entrepreneurs that could help push me. and I joined GCC originally to help get me there. But to be honest, GCC's been great, but I think there could be a better option, and I think you've done an awesome job of giving me a better step in that direction. So,
Thank you, man.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, we met through there, and I'm very glad.
Yeah.
Would you say, also like networking wise, like how it can influence you getting to know people in the same place compared to just hanging out with your childhood friends? Like,
Yeah.
how can this impact your life?
Yeah, bro, like I just said, I was just talking to a guy out there, and he's doing $100K a month, and getting to talk with him about how he runs Facebook ads and stuff like that, which is something I always have trouble with because I'm close to the gambling space and I get limits. He's able to give me a connection that can help me get around this, or maybe be able to keep an account up longer or something. So like literally just connections like that. There's no ROI directly right now to me, but being able to talk with someone like that and maybe I go forward with that, I could make thousands of dollars literally just because I came on this trip.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So basically, in 1 week, like, you have a great time, like experience-wise.
Personal brand content, which I suck at. So I'm improving.
Which we're working on right
that's
now.
that's another thing. I came here because my personal brand is like a picture of like an astronaut. No one knows what I do. No one knows who I am. I'm just like this weird dude on the internet, has a bunch of followers, and everyone's like, "Who's this guy?"
Who is Bill, man?
So now some more professional content should help. So
Perfect, man. And like my mission with this whole thing is basically, you come here, you don't know any one of the guys, basically. Maybe you know someone.
yeah,
And you go home with friends.
yeah,
That's like my claim. Back in the day, it was different. We have other people in the space of events management or events organizing who don't really focus on that, who just like focus on the content, maybe get a bunch of girls and stuff.
yeah.
But how do you think this is going based on the concept and based on the stuff we've done so far?
I think it's awesome, bro. And I think it's only going to keep getting better. Like, this is your first like huge one, right?
Like with this new concept, yeah.
Yeah, dude, you're going in the right direction. I love it, and I'm going to come back to a few in the future for sure. So,
If there was like one learning from the past few days, what was it?
step outside of your comfort zone. I'm already very far outside of my comfort zone. Like I said, my life's very simple. I just sit at home and work. So like even me just coming here and meeting a bunch of guys that I met on the internet, like it's my first time doing that. Pretty nuts. And yeah, get outside your comfort zone. That's it. And this is a great way to meet new people and do that.
Yeah, man. It's like never been outside of the US. Now
Yeah.
you're
I mean, I went to Canada once.
this doesn't count, bro.
I think it counts.
No, you're being here in Portugal. And what would you say, like because to me it got pretty normal because I do these trips more often.
Yeah.
Like being in a like crazy few $1 million villa like this, like does it do something with your mindset, even though it's not important to you, but does it motivate you being here?
I'd say a bit. I think it would for others a bit more, but for me, definitely a little bit. I think it's more like, this is sick. Maybe I would want to own one, but yeah, I like it.
Okay, man. Also, one question I have, which is very interesting for me, is because I talked about it a lot. Back in the day, I've been a how crazy looks the villa guy compared to views. Like how crazy is the view? Because usually everyone says like the view is the most important thing at the villa or a house or whatever.
Yeah.
If you go to like this high priced thing, like what is more important for you right now? Because we've kind of experienced both because we've stayed in two different villas.
Yeah, we were at a really nice villa a few days ago with a different event, and then we came here. And I like this one a lot better. This is the one with the better view. Just because even if the house is a little bit worse, which it is, the view...
But still crazy.
It's still crazy, don't get me wrong. It's, bro, the view's just awesome. It's just something you can sit there and stare at forever, pretty much.
Yeah.
And just really think and get into a meditative state almost. So, it's great.
What would you tell the Bill from like even a year ago or 5 years ago? Like, what would you tell him if you could meet him?
I wish I worked harder, but if I could tell him,
Work hard.
work harder and try to meet new like-minded people sooner, because I feel like meeting guys like you and all these guys and guys I'll meet on future trips and through masterminds I'm in is like going to be what accelerates me faster than any personal thing I could have done. Granted, 5 years ago, maybe not, because I was at ground zero. So there I just say, keep grinding. But once you have some money coming in, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you could have done to accelerate your growth and your success in business? Maybe even also for someone who wants to start this.
Yeah.
Like avoid these mistakes or do this instead of this.
I wish I knew more in the beginning, done a lot more research about the industry. I don't recommend getting into my industry, to be honest, like starting a page, just because it's really damn hard and you probably will have a shit product. You definitely will. But not too much really other than that.
Unless the people white label your product.
Of course, yeah. But
Man,
yeah.
Is there anything like any last thoughts you'd like to share?
I wouldn't say too much really. The brand is looking to grow pretty fast over the next year to 2 years. We're rolling out some bots, as I mentioned, but like the offers we're going to be able to put behind these are just going to be nuts. Like one offer we're literally considering is like $200 a month, and if we don't profit, we'll give you a full refund. Plus, I'll pay you $100 out of my pocket.
Wait, so if someone comes into your Discord, he
not
pays...
as a disclaimer, not today, maybe in the future, possibility.
Okay.
Yes.
So the offer you want to give is like someone joins your group, pays $200 for that month. If they don't profit, they get the money back, plus you pay them $100.
In a sense, yes. The one caveat I will change to that is if we don't profit, meaning our company and our spreadsheets, because we don't know if you're betting on our picks and then you go bet on your own picks and then like you lose some money. So we have to give you a documented sheet and say every pick we send in here will be over here documented. And then if you buy a month and then in that 30-day span we're not profitable, we would give you all your money back and pay you like $100 out of my pocket. That's how confident we are in this product in the future and how it's going to be hopefully a few months down the road. But yeah, it's looking good. So
Perfect, man. So again, for everyone watching this or listening to this, in the description somewhere I will put a link where you can get a 7 days free pass for
elite picks.
Elite Picks. Also follow the guys on Instagram. You can just search for sports picks, then you will
You'll see us.
Then you'll see them as well, because this guy mastered Instagram SEO. And other than that, Bill, I'm very glad for you, like that you were my first guest. I think we could really like share great insights for the people who are interested in the space, who like maybe want to get into the space.
Yeah.
And if someone has some questions, I just recommend them reach out to you directly, man.
Yeah, just message us on Instagram and me or my assistant will get back to you.
Perfect, brother. Thanks a lot.
Let's go.